Welcome to Pulse&Pressors, where critical care gets crystal clear. Today, we are mastering veno-venous ECMO. In this introductory lesson, we'll build a clean, intuitive mental model of VV ECMO, not just what it is, but why it works, when it fails, and how to think like the circuit. VV ECMO exists for one reason: respiratory failure that has exceeded the lung's ability to exchange gas, despite maximal conventional therapy. This is not a ventilator upgrade. This is extracorporeal gas exchange. Think of VV ECMO as an artificial lung placed outside the body. Blood leaves the venous system, is oxygenated and cleared of carbon dioxide, and then returned back to the venous circulation. The heart is still doing all the pumping. The lungs may still be moving, but they are no longer the primary organ of gas exchange. This distinction is critical because most VV ECMO errors are category errors. VV ECMO is an artificial lung. It replaces gas exchange, not circulation. It is a passenger on the cardiovascular system, not the driver. It does not generate mean arterial pressure. It does not augment cardiac output. It does not fix shock. If your patient is hypotensive on VV support, the circuit is not your solution. You must think in parallel. Manage the lung via the pump and manage the shock via the heart. Do not let the machine's presence cloud your clinical logic. Think in parallel, not in panic. Now trace the blood. Always trace the blood. Blood leaves the venous system, passes through the oxygenator where oxygen is added and carbon dioxide is removed, and then returns to the venous circulation. From there, the native heart pumps that oxygenated blood forward. ECMO does not bypass the heart, it depends on it. In VV ECMO, oxygenation and carbon dioxide removal are controlled by different mechanisms. Oxygenation depends on blood flow through the circuit, but blood flow does not work in a vacuum. Oxygenation is a ratio, a balance between ECMO flow and the patient's native cardiac output. If the heart is pumping 10 liters per minute and the ECMO circuit is delivering 3, the oxygenated blood will be diluted by poorly oxygenated native blood, and systemic saturation will remain low. As a rule of thumb, ECMO flow must approach at least 60% of total cardiac output to reliably support oxygenation. Carbon dioxide removal, on the other hand, depends primarily on sweep gas flow. Sweep is a titratable control. By increasing or decreasing sweep, we directly prescribe how much CO2 the circuit removes. Sweep works by continuously washing CO2 off the gas side of the membrane, keeping gas side PCO2 near zero, and creating a large diffusion gradient that drives CO2 out of the blood. Early increases in sweep have dramatic effects on PaCO2. Later increases show diminishing returns once the gradient is maximized, which is why sweep must be adjusted deliberately, guided by serial blood gases, to control both the absolute PaCO2 and the rate of change. The Cardiohelp is designed for precision, not autopilot. Every number on the screen reflects a pressure, a resistance, or a flow relationship. If you don't understand what the numbers represent physiologically, you will chase alarms instead of solving problems. These are the most common cognitive traps in VV ECMO. Treating hypoxia with sweep is a category error. Sweep removes carbon dioxide. It does not add oxygen. When saturations fall, climb the physiologic ladder. Optimize circuit FiO2, then increase blood flow to capture a larger share of the patient's cardiac output. If oxygen delivery is still inadequate, check the carrier. Low hemoglobin means empty flow. A unit of PRBCS increases the oxygen carrying capacity of every liter the circuit moves. Treating hypercapnia with blood flow fails because carbon dioxide clearance depends on sweep, not flow. Sweep works by maintaining a near-zero carbon dioxide on the gas side of the membrane, creating a pressure gradient that pulls carbon dioxide out of the blood. Recirculation deserves your attention. Recirculation is when the drainage and return cannulas are too close, oxygenated blood is pulled straight back into the circuit without ever reaching the heart or systemic circulation. Flows look adequate. Oxygenation does not improve. The circuit is alive, but the patient is not benefiting. VV ECMO management is inseparable from blood gas interpretation. Because sweep directly controls carbon dioxide removal, abrupt changes in carbon dioxide can cause cerebral vasoconstriction and neurologic injury. That is why frequent bedside blood gases early in a run are not excessive. They are protective. Ensure you account for the patient's native respiratory rate. We are not chasing normal numbers. We are controlling the rate of change. Before we move forward, lock this in. VV ECMO replaces lung function, not heart function. Oxygenation is a flow to cardiac output ratio. Sweep controls carbon dioxide through a pressure gradient. Blood gases are your compass. Everything else builds on that. Stay tuned for the next lesson on VV ECMO. This is Pulse&Pressors, reflecting on the marvels of the human body. Subscribe to stay sharp.